This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free and advanced episodes live, all in one place. True Crime Today Premium Plus. Search it on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. Even try it for 3 days free.
The evidence is gone, but the nightmare continues. Welcome to Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski, featuring former prosecutor and defense attorney Eric Faddis.
Let's go over to the defense of Richard Allen. I know we've been kind of arguing that along the way as we talk about the actual prosecution. But yeah, those confessions are a big thing. And having that psychologist come in who wasn't talking to podcasters, who wasn't researching the case, who wasn't biased, seemed to have a pretty solid, explanation, a pretty solid background as well. Who do you think probably read better to that jury? The defense psychologist that talked about him or the one that, had the tainted history?
That's the thing is the defense psychologist is more unassailable. They didn't have the bias or apparent bias that the prosecution side did. And on top of that, it was so critical to have that because, like I said, intuitively, we think, hey, no one's going to confess to something they didn't do. And I thought the defense psychologist did a good job of explaining in a digestible way how that could actually happen after a series of horrible events that Richard Allen has been through.
It's it's been very surprising to see just kind of how some of these things have played out and what's read better. Initially here when the defense was going in and right before this case started, we were all looking at this going, gosh, it feels like they stripped them of, any defense that they could have. But I guess that wasn't so bad when there's not much of a prosecution either. It turned out both were playing with half decks, it seems, of what they were allowed to, except the defense actually had some real stuff that just wasn't allowed into the case.
Yeah, and that's a big potential problem. So there is case law in most jurisdictions that says that the judge cannot preclude the only defense that defense is running. If they have one sole defense, and here, arguably was the Odinist defense that someone else was involved in this, and Judge Gold prohibited that. Mm-hmm. When you prohibit the only sole defense, that is a real potentially reversible issue on appeal. So even if there is a conviction, Richard Allen still has a number of outs on the backside.
He's got, as I've always been saying in this case, he has the get a new trial free card, almost guaranteed. That's if he is convicted. And like I said, the jury may have already decided by now, by the time you're listening to this. But let's say he does get off and they do find him innocent because there's a tremendous lack of evidence here. What kind of case does he have against Delphi for round 2 of this, where it's Richard against them?
Oh, totally. There are potential civil rights claims that he can bring, that anyone can bring. Mm-hmm. If there is what's called malicious prosecution or abusive process, and it's really, the government realizing some problems with the case, waiting 5 years to even bring it. Mm-hmm. And then failing to establish that a person was guilty after he's been held in solitary confinement for God knows how long. He will certainly pursue civil avenues after this, and it could bankrupt the small governmental municipality of Delphi.
It has echoes of the case out of Manitowoc, Wisconsin, the Making a Murderer documentary, Stephen Avery. Where there were the accusations of murder against him. He was even found and put away, and then they found evidence that exonerated him, and he got $1 million judgment against the city. And then the city, that's a lot of money for Manitowoc. It ain't a big place. Been there many times. He killed Teresa Halbach back here in his junkyard. And we know how that has all been sitting, never having to make the payment on that bill. I don't know. It's just going to be an interest. It reminds me of that. So I would say to Richard Allen, I'd be a little bit concerned if you do get off. I'd be just kind of getting out of Delphi, maybe do the lawsuit from a distance. I don't know. It just seems like there might not be a lot of up and up police work going on his part there.
You bring up an important point because, we think that, if someone is wrongfully accused and then they bring a civil lawsuit, they're allowed to do that and it's cool,
Yeah.
whatever. But the reality is that the government's not going to like that. And they might find some other way to go after him if he tries to poke the bear. So on the balance, is it better off for him to just go on about his life if he is acquitted? Maybe.
You make a very good point. That may be the best option. Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free and advanced episodes live, all in one place. True Crime Today Premium Plus. Search it on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. Even try it for 3 days free.
Let's be honest. Nothing kills the thrill of a good murder mystery like a commercial for laundry detergent. It's like someone slapping a closed sign on your favorite dive bar. But you're not here for that, are you? You're here for the good stuff. So ditch the ads and upgrade to True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. With True Crime Today Premium Plus, you get your crime straight. No chaser. Commercial free with extended interviews and early access. It's like getting the bartender's special when the bar's already closed. Search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and drink it all in.